Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for yet another preview of an IPL team. Now, as we are soon approaching the IPL, of course, we are going to be previewing all the teams. If you haven't already checked out our previous videos of previewing teams, do check that out. The link is in the description. Also, the I button, you can click on that as well. Let's get into the video. Today we are going to be talking about the Kolkata Knight Riders, the two-time IPL champion who really dominated IPL 1.0 stage. In the recent past, they've had a lot of inconsistent seasons, if one can say so. They did come to the final in 2021 where they lost to Chennai Super Kings in that final. But other than that, they've not really gone on to play the way they did during 2014, during 2012, and during that era where Gautam Gambhir led by example. In the recent past, they've had so many changes in the management, especially when it comes to changing of coaches, changing of captains, getting some new players, and a lot of decision making which they had to do as well. They also let go of one of the shining stars in cricket in Shubman Gill, by where Gujarat Titans did trade him in to their team, and now he's one of the permanent members of the Gujarat Titans team. And now Shubman Gill is one of the biggest stars in world cricket at this point of stage. For Kolkata Knight Riders, there are certainly a lot of question marks before heading to the season as to what their ideal 11 is going to be. What is their ideal combination which can really get them titles? Over the years, you've seen two permanent members in Kolkata Knight Riders, and that's definitely the case this season as well. With Andre Russell and also Sunil Narayan making a part of a strong core, the West Indies core of this Kolkata Knight Riders remains the same. They also take part in almost every other Kolkata Knight Riders franchise. They are part of the ADKKR. They're also part of the TKR, and of course, the Kolkata Knight Riders ultimately as well. So these two players have been evergreen present, have got an evergreen presence in the Kolkata Knight Riders team forever now. Let's talk about the last season, isn't it? Because last season they definitely did not have the best of seasons. They did show promises earlier on the season, especially when it comes to the opening game against Chennai Super Kings, where they defeated Chennai Super Kings in that game, and they really showed that they got something about them. But after that, they really tapered off. There are a lot of reasons. They definitely found someone like Umesh Yadav, who was one of the best bowlers in the last season, one can say so. He was ready to pick up wickets whenever you gave him that new ball, and he consistently picked power play wickets. But alongside Umesh Yadav, there was no support bowler. They relied heavily on a bowler like Patrick Cummins, who did not really turn up, though he scored that fastest ever IPL 50 he did. But other than that, he definitely did not turn up with the ball. He was extremely expensive, and Kolkata Knight Riders had to look for different other alternatives. Maybe bowling was not their major problem. Their major problem relied on their batting, one can say so. If you look at their batting, they did not have the big players stepping up. They also had a very inconsistent 11, very inconsistent opening pair. One of those teams who had close to 9 opening pairs in the last IPL. In the 14 games they played, there are 9 different opening combinations. They tried different opening combinations to really get something going, but ultimately nothing really went their way. But let's look at the previous season to understand from the win-loss ratio, isn't it? Let's understand how many games did they win, how many games did they lose batting first, and bowling first as well. Now, if you look, they batted first 9 of the occasions out of the 14 games, and they won just 4 of them, and they lost 5 of those occasions. Can you blame their bowling for that? Not certainly. Their batters definitely not put a lot of the runs on the board. When it comes to them batting second and bowling first, of course, they won 2 out of their 3 games, 2 out of their 5 games, and of course they lost the majority of those games as well. In totality, they just had 6 wins. They ended up being on 12 points. Maybe not a stat which is not quite appealing. You can never draw that this was their strongest suit, that this was their weakest suit out of this particular stat, because in both of these metrics you can understand that Kolkata Knight Riders do not really have the best of times. But there's a slight bit of indication in this. Their batting was a major letdown in comparison with their bowling, because in their bowling they definitely had bowlers stepping up. They had Sunil Narayan, who was extremely economical. They had bowlers like Umesh Yadav, who did pick up wickets. They had Tim Southey, who they really reformed in with his T20 skills. He was bowling extremely well with his cutters and with his change-ups in through the middle overs, and also in the death as well. He did a fine job for the Kolkata Knight Riders. You can say it was the batting which was a letdown. Let's look at another stat to understand their batting versus bowling stat, isn't it? Because that can also give a better indication as to what kind of a season they had last time around. While batting first, if you look at that metric, you can understand they only scored at 8.03 runs per over, and they lost 8 wickets per match. As we did mention, their batting was the major letdown last IPL. They only scored close to 160 runs on most of these occasions whenever they batted first. And that's not a very good stat, especially when you're playing in conditions like Mumbai, Pune, where you need to score an excess of 170, 180, because dew factor was a major controllable fact was an uncontrollable factor in the last season's IPL as well, because of the peak summers in Mumbai, because of the humidity factor as well. Now, when we talk about their bowling first stat and their batting second stat, now this is a very important stat as well, because especially when it comes to batting second as well, they did try to chase down scores very close to 180, 170, but they did fail. They were losing wickets consistently. One metric which is very common to them is them losing wicket. But their bowling on most of these indicators, especially bowling second, their indication is extremely good. They're considered less than 8 runs per over, especially while defending scores. And that is a very good stat to have for a team. And if you look, that's one of the reasons why they had won most of their games while batting first as well. Though they lost a lot of games, they won most of their games while batting first, primarily because their bowling did chip in, likes of Varun Chakravarti or likes of Sunil Narayan, trying to form a web of spin through the middle overs, and also their pace ballers trying to pick up wickets. And Andre Russell, whenever he was given an opportunity to bowl on the dead, he did a fine job there as well. So their bowling was definitely their stronger forward. They also did pick up wickets constantly. They also picked up close to 7 wickets per game on most of these occasions while bowling first, and also while bowling second as well. That has been their stronger forte. Now, when we talk about one of the major things which they had done at the start of the season, way before the auction happened as well, remember, they were one of the very few teams who went in with a very small purse to this auction, and they did bring in the likes of Shardul Thakur and Lockie Ferguson. Now, there's a big injury looming over Lockie Ferguson. When we talk about Shardul Thakur, he might be the bowler who can maybe provide them with that extra bit of balance, who can also bat a little bit. At the same time, he can also give that bowling credentials with the new ball and also through the middle overs. Last time around, they did miss a bowler who can bowl through the middle overs, giving that support role to different kind of bowlers. They had someone like a Rashid Salam who came into that lineup. They had different bowlers who they tried out. They never really went their way. Shivam Mavi was part of that setup. Shivam Mavi couldn't really get going last IPL. In the last few seasons in the IPL, Shivam Mavi has really struggled with the Kolkata Knight Riders team as well. Hence, they let go of Shivam Mavi in the auction, and Gujarat Titans did acquire the service of Shivam Mavi for this season. Now, that was a major issue. Who's going to be their third seamer? They had well set seamers, Umesh Yadav and Tim Saudi. Most likely this season as well, for the majority of the season, you're going to see Umesh Yadav and Tim Southee sharing majority of their fast bowling duties with a third seamer like Shardul Thakur, and also the fourth seam bowling option, Andre Russell. With Andre Russell, there's always an injury concern, because he's never been a bowler or a player. Whenever he has had to do a bulk of the bowling, he's always tend to get injured as well. Now, that's going to be the major issue for Kolkata Knight Riders this season as well, whether Andre Russell can stay fit throughout the entire IPL. If Andre Russell can stay fit, and if he can give close to 2 to 3 overs every match, and with his batting prowess towards the latter end, that makes this Kolkata Knight Riders team look all of a sudden much more a potent threat. But Kolkata Knight Riders have far more concerns to loom over this season than the previous seasons as well, because their captain in Shreyas Iyer is facing a major injury concern wide before the start of the IPL. He's always had that back injury. He did go to the NCA, did come back into the Indian Test team, and again he got that back injury, which again resurfaced in his body. Now the question is, how many games is he gonna miss? Now, when you're gonna be talking about an Indian batter in an IPL, and an Indian batter with the experience of Shreyas Iyer, if you're going to miss him for a majority of the tournament, that's going to be a massive miss. You did see that with Delhi Capitals in 2021 as well. They did miss Shreyas Iyer for majority of the tournament, and all of a sudden the balance of the team went out of the window, because an Indian batter who can bat in the middle order in IPL is gold dust. It's worth its weight in gold dust for a reason, because he can play spin well, and he's also a very attacking batter, and he's also their captain. Now, when you're talking about a change in captaincy, that's a whole different ball game altogether. Now, you're going to have two philosophies meeting each other. At the start of this season, they made one big change. That is to appoint Chandrakant Pandit as the Kolkata Knight Riders head coach. Now, Brendan McCullum was the previous coach for the Kolkata Knight Riders, and he was now appointed for the English national test team. So he had to go there. So they wanted a new coach, and Chandrakant Pandit was given the responsibility. Now, when we talk about Chandrakant Pandit, he's a big figure in the Indian domestic circuit. He made Madhya Pradesh win the Ranji Trophy. He also made Vidarbha win the Ranji Trophy, and he's always been a coach who demanded or commanded respect of a lot of these young players out there. His philosophy is very simple in terms of building players, in terms of building new players, unearthing players. You saw the likes of Avesh Khan, Venkatesh Iyer, the likes of Rajat Patidar. A lot of these players did come through the ranks when Chandrakant Pandit was the coach of the Madhya Pradesh team. And Madhya Pradesh team has had a phenomenal run as well. Also, to add to the list, Kumar Kartikeya, who's been a mystery spinner for Mumbai Indians as well. So Chandrakant Pandit comes in with that ideology and philosophy of unearthing players. Now, if you look back at the last season, let's look at the batting stat, isn't it? Because one batting stat which we need to talk about who has been their best batters from the previous season to understand what could they do right this season. Let's talk about Rinku Singh and his impact. Rinku Singh, we all remember that innings which he played against the Lucknow Super Giants, where we really took the game very deep, which made Kolkata Knight Riders still stay in the contention for qualification, but ultimately he couldn't end up being on the finish line because of Marcus Joynes really coming in and finishing things off. And that was one of the peak moments where you really identify Rinku Singh has got that potential to go and do well in the IPL. Venkatesh Iyer, what a phenomenal 2021 did he have with the bat, and as a cricketing career as well. He got an India call up. He became all of a sudden a new replacement, spoken about for Hardik Pandya, and he just had a bad season last summer. You can say second season blues, and it really did get to Venkatesh Iyer, the all-rounder. He did not really come into the party both with the ball and also with the bat. He had a very bad strike rate under 110, and he scored less than 200 runs. That's less than the number of runs he scored in the 7 games he played in the UAE leg of 2021 IPL as well. Now that's something which he like to improve this time around. Venkatesh Iyer would like to rediscover himself and come back very strong into this Kolkata Knight Riders team for this season as well. Andre Russell, you can say as an all-rounder, he had a very decent season. One thing which is constant with Andre Russell is the strike rate. At no point of stage will you ever get a low strike rate from Andre Russell, and he had a very decent season by scoring an extra of 330 once. And once again, it was on Nitish Rana as well. Nitish Rana has now become a very important player of this Kolkata Knight Riders team. There's a lot of responsibility over him, primarily because he is a player. He's also looked up as a future captain as well. He's part of the leadership group. He's got that experience of playing in the domestic circuit. He's been playing for Kolkata Knight Riders for now so many years. Now, this is his season, one can say, so to really step up. He's always been extremely inconsistent, and this season really occurs for him to go out there and have a massive season. Maybe a season next year, 450 odd runs or 500 runs. You did see a lot of potential from Nitish Rana when he broke into the season 2017 with the Mumbai Indians team, where you really felt there's a lot of talent in this player. Now that's the exact thing about Nitish Rana. If he really needs to have a breakthrough season and to really tell the world that this is my potential, this has to be the season in absence of a lot of the players. And Shreyas Iyer, though he did not have the best of seasons with the bat, 400 run season from Shreyas Iyer is still a very average season considering the fact that he's one of India's most elite batters out there. He did have his struggles with the short ball, throughout the IPL. He was targeted by every team with a short ball ploy, and he kept falling for that throughout the last season. And this season, if he gets to play some of the games, it's going to be very important for him to tackle that and take the attack on and really show that he's really come out of that weakness which he really showed in the previous seasons as well. So it's up to Shreyas Iyer to really come out fighting out of the situation as well. Let's look at the best bowlers for Kolkata Knight Riders, because this has been the stronger 41 can say so. Uh, Patrick Cummins, one can say, was very underwhelming. That economy chart out there, going close to 11 runs per over and just picking up 7 wickets, is definitely not good enough at the end of the day, because that is something which you don't expect from a big overseas buy in your team. And though he did give some of the runs with the bat, but that was not the reason why he was brought in that team. He was brought into that team primarily because they wanted a bowler who can pick up wickets alongside Umesh Yadav. And Sunil Narayan, as always, was economical. He went under 6 runs per over and he did pick up 9 wickets as well. Now, Tim Southee as well. Tim Southee was a phenomenal bowler for their team. He picked up 14 wickets, going under 8, which is exceptional once again. Umesh Yadav there. Umesh Yadav had a fantastic season last time around, especially picking up a lot of wickets. And also when it comes to Andre Russell as well. Andre Russell had a phenomenal season there as well. He did go close to 10 runs per over, but he was very good as well. Andre Russell with his bowling and towards the death overs, sharing the responsibility alongside someone like a Tim Southee there. Now that's Kolkata's bowling lineup for you. Now, one bowler who's been really missing out of that list is Varun Chakravarti. Varun Chakravarti, after having a phenomenal season in 2021 and 2020 in the UAE legs, he was missing out of the top wicket takers chart. Now, if you talk about Varun Chakravarti, he was entrusted and he was actually seen upon as the next big thing in Indian cricket with his mystery spin. He had troubled a lot of batters in the UAE leg of 2021 and 2020 because batters were unable to read him. Alongside him and Sunil Narayan, who bowled at 8 crucial overs in the middle overs, batting teams really found it very difficult to strike a plan against him. Now, what really happened for him? Now, one of the major reasons which Varun Chakravarti had to deal with throughout the course of his career has been the injury factor. Now, if you know about Varun Chakravarti, he started playing cricket at a very late stage in his career as well. He started playing cricket after he finished a degree, which he became an architect for, and he started with TNPL. Then he started with tennis ball cricket initially. Then he started with TNPL, and that's how he was unearthed by Punjab Kings. And from there on, his career turned around when he joined Kolkata Knight Riders as well, where he started performing there. Now, for a player who started playing very late, there's been a lot of workload on his body, which his body couldn't definitely handle. Fitness issues did come into play. He did get picked for India's World Cup squad in 2021 World T20 as well, and he also did play the opening game against Pakistan. But he just went off the radar completely. That's because of the injury concerns, which has always loomed over him. Now, that is one of the primary reasons why he couldn't really get to that level which he was performing in the previous 2 seasons. For Varun Chakravarti, personally, this season is going to be very crucial for him and for Kolkata Knight Riders as well, for Varun Chakravarti to perform, because this season is all about home and away legs. You are going to be playing on some of the turning surfaces in places like Chennai, maybe places like Lucknow as well. You're going to be getting the pitches which are going to turn, and also in Jaipur as well with longer square boundaries. Now that is why you need the experience of Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan to come into the fore. We tie teams with that 8 over spell where it's going to be very difficult for teams to get scoring. Now, in 2021, one of the major reasons Kolkata Knight Riders had that run into the final was in whenever they played in Sharjah, where pitch was slow and low. Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan, with those 8 overs tied down teams, made sure that no team scored in excess of 50 runs in that 8 overs, and also they picked up wickets very consistently in that 8 overs phase as well. Now, that was a major difference in the Mumbai leg of the IPL in 2022, the entirety of 2022 rather. Let's look at the predicted playing eleven to understand how will they possibly line up for this season, because it is one of the most interesting thing about this Kolkata Knight Riders team. Now, if you talk about the predicted lineup, there's some big changes up there. With Shreyas Iyer's injury, we do not know how concerning it is at this point. There's also reports that he might miss out on the WTC final. If at all Shreyas Iyer is going to miss out from that playing 11, there's definitely one big hole in that middle order. And at the same time, there's also backups which they have to find. At this point, they have got, when it comes to Indian batters, they have a Mandeep Singh, and they have also someone like a Jagadeshan, who has had a phenomenal domestic season with Tamil Nadu squad. Now, if we need to talk about the wicket keeping role, now this is the most important role for Kolkata Knight Riders. Since the leaving of Dinesh Karthik, they have really struggled to find that wicket keeper, a wicket keeper who's solid out there, who can keep wickets and also score runs. Last season they went for different options. They went for Aparjit Baba. They tried to get his services there. They just couldn't. He just couldn't go out there and deliver. They had Ajinkya Rahane opening for them last season, and he also couldn't score once because he was definitely not finding his feet in none of the cricketing formats he was playing in as well. Mandeep Singh is definitely an option which they can try out. He's got plethora of experience playing in Indian domestic circuit. he is definitely going to be one player to watch out for in this IPL as well if he really gets a long run, because this is going to be the opportunity for a lot of these players like Rinku Singh, Nitish Rana, Venkatesh Iyer to really step up in the absence of Shreyas Iyer if he's going to miss out, and also for Neelakant and Jagadishan as well, because Jagadishan has always been that promised star who never really got an opportunity, because he's always scored once for the Chennai for the Tamil Nadu team, but for Chennai Super Kings he never got an opportunity. Now that he's playing for a different franchise, there is a lot of opportunity which awaits him. They can go in with the wicket keeping option of even Liton Das. Who remembers Liton Das from that phenomenal knock which he played against India in that World Cup game in Adelaide? He's got that firepower in him. When you talk about Ramanullah Gurbaz, he's been a hard hitter of the ball. He's coming with a reputation of being a strike force up top. Now him alongside with Venkatesh Iyer is going to be that difference for the Kolkata Knight Riders team. Now who else can possibly come into this team, isn't it? Now with Litan Das maybe coming in for Ramula Gurbas can maybe give them much more experience, much more solidity up top. Ramula Gurbas can be maybe rested because he's also a traded in player ultimately from the Gujarat Titans. Now he's a possible player who they can try out. Litan Das is, Neelakant and Jagadish is, and Mandeep Singh. If at all Shreyas Iyer is not there, I see Mandeep Singh coming into that lineup straight in at number 4, and maybe Jagadish opening the batting, and maybe they can try out of overseas player. Now, who are the overseas options there? They have someone like a David Visa. Now, if when you talk about David Visa, he's been a serial trophy winner. Wherever he has gone, he's won trophies. And you remember his exploits with the Namibian team as well. You can say he's a like-to-like replacement option for Andre Russell, but he is a much more experienced player when it comes to the all-round. Let's pull up the playing 11 once again to understand who are the possible where's the possible place where David Visa can come in. Now, if David Visa comes into this lineup, he can possibly come in at number 6 for this team, and Andre Russell may be batting at number 5 for this team as well. Now, this is going to be very interesting for this Kolkata Knight Riders team. Now, if David Visa, Sunil Narayan, and and Andre Russell forms a strong core in the middle order, that will really give the top order Indian batters who are slightly inexperienced to go out there and play with a lot more freedom, because then there's an Andre Russell and David Visa to really take the attack on towards the latter end. Now that also gives them a lot more balance in terms of the number of overs. David Visa can bowl good 2 to 3 overs every game alongside someone like an Andre Russell towards the death end. And that is going to be a major difference for this team as well. Now, when you have two fast bowling all rounders in your team who can bat at number 6 and number 5, or number 6, number 7, alongside Sunil Narayan as well as an all rounder, because now he's a much better improved batter as well. Now, they'll be playing most of their games at Eden Gardens, and Sunil Narayan loves playing in the Eden Gardens wicket because the ball comes onto the bat beautifully in Eden Gardens, especially in day and night games, and that's where Sunil Narayan is at his absolute best. With shorter boundaries on the square, Sunil Narayan will be at his absolute best as an all-rounder as well. Can, can Sunil Narayan open the batting? It is a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Kolkata Knight Riders can try Sunil Narayan at the top of the batting order. With his ability, with his experience, he can be used as a tactical option as well at the top of the order. Now with Shardul Thakur there as at number 8 for the Kolkata Knight Riders team, and also Tim Southee will be their option for Kolkata Knight Riders with injury looming over Lockie Ferguson. Now they have to go in with a lot of experience there. Shardul Thakur at 8, Tim Southee at 9, Umesh Yadav at 10, and Varun Chakravarti at 11. This looks like a very good Kolkata Knight Riders on paper with the T20 experience each player has got. But once again, it comes down to the Indian batters who can perform. If Indian batters can have a decent season, most of the Indian batters scoring in excess of 350 odd runs, and with the overseas players stepping out by scoring 300 odd runs, finishing the job for them, this becomes a very potent Kolkata Knight Riders team. Now, where can they finish in the table? Maybe a lot of Kolkata fans might be disappointed. This does not look like a top 4 team, considering a lot of factors which have been involved with the Kolkata Knight Riders team prior to the start of the season. If Shreyas Iyer is fit and fine, and if Lockie Ferguson is fit and fine to go for majority of their games, then all of a sudden you can say they can be in the hunt for the top 4, or else they might have to miss out on the top for this season as well. But you never know with Kolkata Knight Riders. It has always been an unpredictable team throughout the IPL. In 2021, a lot of people wrote them off after the first half of the IPL, but in the second leg, they came roaring back. And that's the best part of the Kolkata Knight Riders. They always had that self-belief to come back out of adversity, and that's going to be their strength this season as well. How can they face adversity and come back out of it, winning as well? With Chandrakant Pandit at the helm of things, he will definitely definitely know a thing or two about unearthing Indian talents and finding a very good run in the IPL. T20 format might be slightly alien for Chandrakant Pandit, but nonetheless, experience cannot be bought in market for him as well. Now, that's the kind of experience he's coming in with this IPL. Let's hope Kolkata Knight Riders has a very good season and a lot of the Indian batters go on to do well. Do let us know your prediction in the comment section to know where will they finish in the in the points table, and also what is their ideal predicted 11 if there is no Shreyas Iyer and also Lockie Ferguson. There is a possibility Sunil Narayan or Nitish Rana might be appointed as captain. And also do let us know what are your captaincy suggestions for the Kolkata Knight Riders team. Thank you for watching this video once again, all of you. If you like this video, do subscribe to our channel and also follow and share this video with all your friends and family so we can keep bringing you this content time and time again as we head near to the IPL. We'll be covering almost every team through the course of the season and also understanding which are the strength and weakness of every team before the start of the season. And as we get along with the IPL every day, expect us to come and cover it as well. Thank you and have a good time, all of you. Bye bye.